The story begins with Hiroi-san, the most popular girl in the class, admired by nearly everyone and quietly regarded as the Madonna of class. For our love idiot Tsunaki, she captures his heart the moment he sees her for the first time, and the feeling grows until he can no longer keep it contained. Before he fully understands what he is doing, he acts on impulse, his heart pounding as he slips a love letter into her locker, believing it is the only way he can finally put his feelings into words. But his confession meets an immediate and crushing end. The very next day, he is rejected, and the message is delivered not by Hiroi-san herself, but by her friend, Ichizono. She calls him over with a serious look, holding the letter he wrote, and calmly explains that Hiroi-san feels deeply uncomfortable with situations like this. When Ichizono leaves, Tsunaki remains behind in the now empty classroom, trying to convince himself that this outcome was inevitable. Hiroi-san is admired by everyone, while he sees himself as nothing more than a bench warmer on the baseball team, someone so unremarkable that he never expects her to notice his existence at all. Even with these thoughts repeating in his mind, the rejection still cuts painfully deep, and as he sits there, he sees Hiroi-san passing by outside the classroom windows with her friends, and the sight of her sharpens the ache in his chest. Pain shows clearly on his face as her name echoes in his thoughts, over and over again. Hiroi-san. Ichizono suddenly returns and slams her hand down on his desk, startling him. She demands to know why he is not giving up when he has already been rejected, calling him pathetic, and telling him to stop looking at her friends with tearful eyes. Tsunaki can only respond quietly, saying that he understands, addressing her by name as Ichizono. Wanting nothing more than to escape, he gathers his belongings and prepares to leave, promising that he will not bother Hiroi-san again. Ichizono says nothing in response, watching in silence as he hurriedly exits the classroom. To his surprise, Ichizono calls him back and tells him to wait, stopping him before he can leave the classroom. She immediately criticizes his approach, saying that sending a love letter is far too delicate and passive, and insists that if he truly wants to win a girl over, he should be bolder and act more like a real man. Tsunaki reacts in shock, blurting out that if he had done something like that, he would have been arrested on the spot, and he hurriedly defends himself by explaining how much thought and effort he put into writing that letter. Ichizono then reveals the truth without hesitation, telling him that Hiroi-san never even reads the letter. She explains that the rejection comes with complete disregard, and that accepting this fact should make it easier for him to move on. Without pausing, she begins listing everything she believes is wrong with him, criticizing his hair, his clothes, and even his height with sharp precision. She complains about how he always tells the same stories, points out his low grades and his messy desk, and goes on to mention his loud voice when he talks with friends, the awkward way he behaves around girls, and even how he holds his chopsticks. The list seems endless, and Tsunaki stands completely frozen as the verbal assault continues, unable to respond. After unloading all of this, Ichizono suddenly stops, as though she has lost her train of thought, and awkwardly tries to remember what they were talking about in the first place. With a smile, she casually concludes that it is only natural for him to be rejected, and tells him there is no need to worry about it. At that point, Tsunaki can no longer endure it and breaks down, crying out in pure anguish as he turns to her and demands to know why she has to go so far with her criticisms. Ichizono looks genuinely surprised by his reaction and insists that she is only trying to cheer him up, even adding his anger to the growing list of flaws while admitting that she gets involved only because she feels responsible for the situation. Tsunaki struggles to calm himself and accepts that there is nothing he can do about the letter never being read, but with tears still in his eyes, he finally explains the real source of his pain. He says that Hiroi-san does not have to send a friend to reject him, and that if it is going to end this way, he wishes she would have done it herself. Ichizono, clearly annoyed at seeing him cry again, suddenly brightens as an idea comes to her. She tells him that if he is that frustrated, then he should surpass Hiroi-san herself, pointing at him with conviction as she declares that he needs to make her regret rejecting him. The goal, she says, is to make Hiroi-san think she should have accepted that love letter. Tsunaki still looks completely lost, unable to imagine how he is supposed to accomplish something like that, and it is then that Ichizono offers a solution. Since he is part of the baseball team and Hiroi-san likes athletes, he should work harder and show his cool side during games, proving his worth where she can see it. Tsunaki tries to make excuses, saying that he is only a bench warmer and that it feels strange to put in so much effort for the sake of revenge. But Ichizono cuts him off sharply, shouting that she does not care, and warning him that if he keeps thinking that way, he will remain exactly as he is for the rest of his life. She then admits that Hiroi-san is insincere toward him, and as she turns to walk away, she delivers a final, merciless blow by saying that someone as spineless as him is not even worth rejecting properly. Her words strike him deeply, and in that moment, he realizes just how pathetic his own behavior has been up until now. From that day onward, something inside him changes completely, and he begins training for baseball with a level of determination and fury that no one has ever seen from him before. His teammates are stunned by the sudden transformation and whisper among themselves, wondering why the boy who used to perform so poorly is now pushing himself so relentlessly. Watching the fire burning in his eyes, one teammate makes a surprisingly accurate guess, remarking that it almost seems as if Tsunaki has someone he desperately wants to take revenge on. His dedication becomes so extreme that he wears out and destroys all the extra baseballs during practice, and the coach finally takes notice of the boy who never stops working. Even when it rains, Tsunaki continues running without rest, showing an incredible level of grit and endurance. And although his teammates admire his effort, they quietly wonder how long he can maintain such an intense pace. Little by little, his hard work begins to pay off, and his performances in games improve dramatically. His teammates start to see him as a valuable player, joking that he is finally following their advice, unaware that he now has a secret spectator. Hidden behind the fence, Ichizono watches his growth closely, observing every step of his change. The day of the important game finally arrives, and Tsunaki takes his position, pouring all of his strength into a perfect hit that sends the crowd into an uproar. In the stands, Hiroi-san cheers with excitement, clearly impressed by his play, while beside her, Ichizono watches in stunned silence, unable to believe what she is witnessing. His hit proves decisive and secures the team's victory, and his teammates surround him like a hero, congratulating him on the game-winning moment. The team captain speaks excitedly about the future, already thinking ahead to avenging last year's loss. Tsunaki thanks everyone, offering an apology as well, and promises to continue working hard, though his true goal remains different in his own mind. The person he truly wants revenge on is not the opposing team. Sometime after the game, Ichizono appears in front of Tsunaki once again. With a smile on her face, Ichizono hands him a letter and says it is a gift from Hiroi-san, leaving Tsunaki frozen in shock and unable to react at first. She explains calmly that it is not a love letter, but more of a fan letter meant to congratulate him on his recent success and performance. Wearing a satisfied expression, she asks if he feels better now, pointing out that he has achieved his goal and taken his revenge in the most impressive way possible. She tells him that he is free to choose anyone he wants now, and even offers, half-jokingly, to personally deliver a rejection to Hiroi-san if he wishes. Tsunaki grows flustered and hurriedly tries to explain that fame is not the reason he worked so hard, his words stumbling over each other as he speaks. Ichizono laughs at his response, brushing it aside and insisting that he cannot fool her, confidently claiming that she has known the truth all along. According to her, his real motivation has always been getting revenge on Hiroi-san, and after gauging his reaction, she turns and begins to walk away. And as she leaves, she advises him to wait a few days before making any major decisions, telling him that he deserves that time. But she casts one final glance over her shoulder and reminds him to act like a real man next time and never answer with a letter again. He does not need words to respond. Taking her advice to heart, he finally acts, stepping forward and wrapping his arms around her from behind in one swift and decisive motion. Ichizono freezes instantly, her eyes widening in pure surprise as she struggles to process what just happened. Speechless for a moment, she finally calls him an idiot, her face turning bright red as she tries to insist that he has it wrong and that he is going after the wrong person altogether. Tsunaki refuses to let go, holding his ground and taking control of the situation as he tells her he will only release her on one condition, that she finally admits he is cool. Instead, Ichizono leans closer until their faces are nearly touching and places a quick kiss on his cheek. She then explains her reasoning with a teasing smile, saying that if he does not let go, she cannot turn around and kiss him properly. She says it is completely uncool and tells him that he should not let a girl kiss him first. She then accuses him of turning around with a smile that is far too bright. And as she continues teasing him from afar, Tsunaki reflects that he has been defeated once again, and his revenge is still unsuccessful.
And that's all for today. If you'd like us to continue this manhwa, leave a comment and please subscribe to the channel to support us. We'll see you in the next video.